Good morning, everyone. It's the Go Long Podcast. Thank you so much for making this part of your day, part of your week. This is the Week 7 wrap-up episode. I'm Tyler Dunn here with Jim Monis. We're on opposite ends of the country here bright and early. Jim, how's life out west? San Diego, when San Diego lost a football team, I shouldn't say football team, an NFL team, it was quite depressing because that's like one of the best markets to go to, right? One of the best cities. You've got the beach, the weather, just the terrain is gorgeous. So, little jealous of you out there taking it all in right now.
Yeah, I was lucky enough, Tyler, to um, spend time out here in the AAF Football League in like 2019. Uh, I was working for the San Diego Fleet, the team in AAF. Mike Martz was the head coach, and man, it was Charleston, South Carolina is probably it's my favorite place in the world. This is number two. I mean, San Diego it's everything you could want. So yes, being out here this weekend was nice. Leaving here, it's nice to go back Buffalo, go see my son. I think the weather actually was the same. Sounds like you guys had a beautiful weekend.
It was nice. Oh yeah, it was super nice here. So I was,
Yeah.
gonna do the tropey. Oh, now you're gonna come back to Buffalo. But no, it was really nice, and it's just a good place to
No,
live.
I
So
saw
we
that. I
won't
was
we
like,
won't do
okay.
that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
no, no, I'm not worried about it. It's good. It's all good. So yeah, what do you
yeah.
think? What do you think? No Bills, no Bills.
No bills, but some very interesting topics to get into today, I think. Also, we should remember to give some love to Fattey Beer Company. They are fueling this podcast, this show, as always. We're going to be there this week. Be on
Yeah.
alert for when exactly. We haven't talked offline, so we'll figure out our schedules, Jim, and hopefully make that happen. But yes, thank you, Fatty, for everything. Get your pumpkin
Yeah,
beers, your IPAs.
we need a good fatty day.
That'd be good. That'd be very, 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 very good. That'd be a smart decision. So, Jim, where should we start? I wanted to kind of start with these aging quarterbacks that didn't look as great, but we can be a little more optimistic. We can be a little more upbeat. Is there a quarterback that got a little separation uh, through the weekend's events that opened your eyes at all?
Yesterday was fun for me quarterback wise. I thought I thought the quality of football was really good yesterday. Now, could have been that I was sitting outside in San Diego in Pacific Beach watching all the games. That could also put you in a good mood to get watching NFL. But I really was the Giants Jacksonville game was intriguing to me, believe it or not, because I'm fascinated with what Dable is doing with the Giants. Because to this point, I know we've talked a lot about Daniel Jones. Yesterday, I thought he had chances to really seal and put his stamp a little bit on where he is for this team, what he means to this team this year. And I thought he didn't come through.
Really?
Um, I didn't think that, yes, I would be concerned right now if I was the Giants. And I think this might be the best Daniel Jones has played. And I don't see it.
He
I just
ran for
don't see
100
him being the
yards.
guy. Well, that's what he does. And I think that's what you have. I think that you have to factor that as part of his game now and put him in the Jalen Hurts, Lamar type impact that his running has. I'm not talking the same style. I'm talking the impact that his yards have when he plays quarterback because his impact
Right.
isn't picking defenses apart. And now in his defense, and I know I'm like now I'm defending him, but that receiving core they have now isn't their. That's not what that's not their best receiving core that they would want to put out there. So they are. I just feel like this. When you think of the Giants' offense right now, it's Saquon. It's not the quarterback. And I just, to me, that always tells you might have the wrong guy at quarterback. If he's not the first guy out of your mouth when you talk about that team's offense, I
I think we lost you, Jim. Can you hear me?
he's always going to fit into that range where I lost you.
Oh, we're back. We're back. Okay. Sorry about that, Jim. We're back. We're live. Yeah, so
I don't know where I left off. I was
I
talking
think
about
it cut off
Daniel
when you're talking
Jones.
about Saquon
Like
Barkley, like leaning heavily into him on offense. That can be an indictment on Daniel Jones.
it, a little bit to me. Like if you're using Barkley because your quarterback isn't the guy that can get things done, that's a concern. But I wanted to say, they aren't fully healthy at receiver. So I don't want to like totally, I just, at some point, Daniel Jones has to produce in big moments. Flip it to Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, he had the same opportunities that Daniel Jones has to finally put his stamp. He had defining opportunities to make long drives. He did not do it. And I thought both of them missed throws that we've seen over the years. I'm just not there yet with either one of them. How about this? I'd be concerned right now if I was Jacksonville a little bit, because at some point you have to do it. You have to stop
Yeah.
living off that you were the number one pick, that you do have talent. You gotta do it. And I think that's where like a Jalen Hurts is kind of, proving himself as a young quarterback, where he is producing in some big games and big moments, but especially in the first half. But anyway, yeah, I thought for those two quarterbacks, Jones and Lawrence, I'd be concerned. Um, Mahomes, we don't need to talk about it. Ridiculous.
Let's stay on the
What he
Giants
did
and
to that
Jags though for a
that
second.
49ers defense is so good. Okay. Okay.
I mean, I just think that's really fascinating. I mean, you made a really good point because if you're the Giants right
Yeah,
now,
go
you're
to it.
six and
Yeah, I
one.
didn't.
I mean, Daniel Jones is finding a way to win at the end. The fourth quarter drive, I think it was some kind of marathon drive, right? 15 plays. Let me just
Mm-hmm.
pull it up here. So there was, I'm talking about when they're down 17-13, start of the fourth, 10 play, 79-yard drive, close
Good.
to 6 minutes. Made some plays that drive, had a long run, runs it in himself at the end.
It's his
You're right. It
runs.
doesn't look like this is something that can last. Like he's not just carving you up from the pocket and converting throw after throw after throw.
That's
And
all.
granted, like you said, the receivers and there's some
Mhm.
other issues, injuries, but they're winning. I mean, what can you do if you're
No,
Joe
they
Shea,
are.
Brian Table, and the Giants? Like you can't do anything but just ride this out for now and see how far it takes you. And then you're gonna
It's
have a decision to make in the off season. But I this is their best option right now. And I'll say this too: like how many quarterbacks in the NFL are just great at the current moment? How
no.
many great quarterbacks are there? I mean, not many. The parity and Brady was
No.
right a few weeks ago. The bad
Yes.
quarterback play, the bad offensive football, it's kind of everywhere. I think it's because these more and more defenses are just watching. Red zone gives you that good cross section view of the whole league and all the action. And just look at the defensive coverages. So many teams now, it doesn't even matter. It used to be like if you had Rodgers in his prime, like in 2012 after that crazy 2011 season, all these defenses were sitting back in two shell. It was like daring Green Bay to run with Alex Green and James Starks, and I think they picked up Ryan Grant late in the season again, daring them, and they had to make a concerted effort. Like we are just going to hand the ball off and run, which it's kind of funny. A decade later, they probably should do the same thing. Aaron Jones had, I think, 8 carries to almost 40 passes again, which is a crime.
I was waiting to see how long it was good. I
No,
was
no, I'm
waiting
not
to
going down
see where
that
you
road
wanted to
yet.
get
But
into
I'm
that.
just saying it's not just the Rodgerses that are getting that treatment. It's almost all offenses and all
Yeah,
quarterbacks
the coverage
are
wise.
facing
Yeah.
that too deep shot. It just isn't effective. So you're not seeing a lot of big plays. Like defenses are forcing quarterbacks to like matriculate the ball down the field, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 play drives. And the Giants are doing that. Like, I know it's not pretty. I agree with you on everything, Daniel Jones, and that they'll probably have to still think about that position, but
Hmm.
they're 6-1. Saquon Barkley is an MVP candidate. Jones didn't turn it
No
over.
question.
I think he was just sacked
No
once.
question.
And the defense is playing well. Like you can talk yourself into that formula. They're going to get healthier. I don't
They're going to
know.
get healthy and they're most likely going to make the playoffs. And this is where you
Oh
have to be
yeah.
honest with yourself. When you're Joe Shane and Dable after the season, like just sometimes that playoff thing can Does that make you just keep Jones and keep riding it out? Only they know how happy they are with Jones as far as how he is, taking on what Dable's trying to get done offensively. Only they know that. And if Dable's happy right now with Jones and where he's at, and he can see him progressing just like Josh Allen progressed in his offense, that only Dable knows that. I personally just don't see it. It doesn't look right to me when you watch him at quarterback compared to the other quarterbacks. But he does have playmaking ability because of his legs. He does have some ability.
To your point, though, you're right in that eventually, like what if you have average to below average quarterback play? I mean, just in terms of like throwing from the pocket, completing passes, getting into a rhythm. If you don't have that, it eventually just bites you in the ass, right? Like look no
I
further
think
than
so.
Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo, and only a year after he took you to the Super Bowl. I mean, you're trading away 3 first-round picks and a third to get Trey Lance, and I think we saw why again on Sunday when you're facing Patrick
We always
Mahomes
do.
and the high-powered Kansas City Chiefs. And once again, his stat line looks pretty good. If you didn't even watch the game and
He
you looked at
was.
Garoppolo's numbers, you'd say, "Oh, what are they talking about?" And then then you watch the
And
game,
then
and
it
it's like
happened. And then it
that's
happened.
why, that's why you give up
And then
everything
it
for Trey
happened.
Lance and dare yourself to get better because and I know they're banged
Yes.
up with injuries and everything. But even if they were healthy, you can see that Garoppolo is a player that is going to hold them back at some point. He's going to bite them. And that throw at the end of the first half when they're going down to take the lead, down 14-13, a little bit of pressure. I mean, it's crazy for a guy with so many
That
snaps and so many career game. Like, God, he really he just pees down his leg when there's pressure in his face. Every time he just gets like a nervous purvis and the ball just comes out. Just go. It doesn't know where it's going. He just throws it.
I
I don't
love the
know.
nervous purpose. I love the nervous purpose.
I know it sounds
Um,
harsh, but it's strange that
it's
it's
not
still a
harsh.
problem for him. And that was
I
a
felt like
throw
I
that I
text
don't care
you.
what his numbers are. That throw, you had a bad game. That ended the game right there.
Agree. I think I texted you right after. I was like, that was unacceptable. Like I and I said basically the same thing. I was sitting with Doug Whaley and I said the same. We both said you've played too long. You've played too long, like to do that. That was I was very, very young. That was poor. That was just poor. And you can't make mistakes against the Chiefs. You cannot make mistakes against the Chiefs.
You can't. So just before we
Anyway,
completely move on from the Giants, what's your
yeah,
what's your overall feel on this team? That I think that this each week, each comeback, we have to take them more seriously. And now they're thinking about first round bye. I mean, that's realistic. Do you see them as a legitimate contender?
yeah. I think in the NFC, I think it's totally anybody can beat anybody. You could ask me about that. You could ask me about any team in the NFC. I'm going to say yes, they have a chance. I hate to say it. Who are you feeling good about? Like there's just
Yeah.
as far as the Eagles right now, obviously are kind of but they can be beaten. I mean, their second halves this year of games have been terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, no, you know what I was thinking about with it? Does it remind you of the Bills now that it would have been the 2017 season when the Bills broke the playoff drought? Now the Giants are probably going to have more win. The Bills snuck in there at the end. The Giants are probably going to, probably dictate. They're probably going to get in, more commanding. But are you solving your problem at quarterback just because you make the playoffs? Was he the reason you made the playoffs? Was Tyrod the reason? Or
There are some similarities. You look at the receiving core, like look who Tyrod was throwing to that season.
I remember they were rebuilding.
Yeah. Yeah, you and Doug were let go,
We
and
were
then it
out.
feel like it was
Yep.
the next day. It wasn't the next day, but it felt like it
No,
that
but
Sammy Watkins, Ronald Darby just
they started and good for, and like I said, they had a plan, go for it. But the point of it was they didn't let that playoff run
mhm,
blind them on Tyrod.
right. And then
That
they were willing to
if they
take
didn't
that
feel
gap
that,
year to go 6-10. but they let Josh Allen take his lumps. That's why let these guys play. And then it was quick. It was the next season, Buffalo's in the playoffs. So I think you're
Anyway,
right.
we'll see.
There are moments though that feel, I don't know, like a couple of these wins for the Giants. It feels like the wins that Buffalo had on the other side of that all. Like
Yeah.
was it 2019? Like that win against Dallas on Thanksgiving Day felt like the Giants win in London over Green Bay kind of felt like that. Like they've had these arrival like wins, but I think at the end of the day, you're probably right where they're still going to have to really ask themselves hard questions at quarterback, and they're going to. They have the right people running the team, and what hey, if you can get this much out of this team right now,
Oh,
life is good for the New York Giants.
I think, and this is what's great. You're just making me think about the Giants while we're talking about. But Dable obviously is a coach of the year front runner, I would think, one or two. And the guy that he's competing with, I couldn't have been more wrong on, is Pete Carroll. I could not have been more wrong on the Seahawks team this year. I
Unbelievable.
didn't know much about this running back. I'm not to jump gears, but Dable should
Go
be.
ahead.
Dable should be. I mean, to your point, they're structured right. Everything we talk about in this show, and they just got to get that quarterback thing figured out.
Well, remember when the Los Angeles Chargers chose Brandon Staley over Brian Dable, right? Wasn't that a thing?
Wow.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking about Sean Payton watching those Chargers games.
Boy, that might be the spot. LA, Justin Herbert. LA, did we
Sean
mention
Payton.
LA for Sean Payton? Seems like a place he'd like to live.
I'd love to see that combo.
Kind of volatile ownership, though, cheap ownership.
It is. It would. It might. Knowing Coach Payton's going to do is obviously he's only going to take a situation that hits every check mark for him, and
It's a pretty big
ownership
check
versus
mark.
that's a big check mark. That would deter. Yes, that could steer you away.
Yeah. Oh,
But
all right,
anyway,
so
all right. So wait,
Seattle. I like
yeah. So
this.
let's talk about that. That running back. I didn't know a lot about him coming into the season. He obviously has been a nice addition. Geno is better than we all thought. As far as you can't know this until he plays, right? We
Mm-hmm.
just all assumed he's going to be the Geno that comes in and kind of goes 500 for the Seahawks until Russell comes back. They don't throw the ball at all, right? The defense keeps them in the game. Geno gets a win, but doesn't put up stats. They let Geno loose a little bit, and he is talented. I mean, we all knew that coming out of college that he had talent. Just assumed he never could put it together for to be a full-time starter. Just I love the way they're playing. I love the way his demeanor is, his toughness, his accuracy has been everything you want. And then that running game. So Pete Carroll, I had my issues. You got something going. John
Well, I
Schneider,
mean, they are justified.
There might have been a reason John Schneider was trying to move on from Russell Wilson
Right. A
a
year
couple of
earlier.
years ago.
Well, I mean, your issues are warranted. I mean, he did get on to your elevator before you exited the elevator.
Oh,
I would never let anybody live that down. I think that's an issue that
maybe it took. I used that too much as my. I can't do that when evaluating him as a coach. I let that blind me.
I think it enters the equation. It says a lot about decision making, respect, general respect.
And the thing is, it's like he's known to be like the rah rah
Yeah. Well,
coach,
we
and
didn't plan this, but they played the Giants this week. So we're gonna learn a
where's
lot
that game
about
at?
who
You
thought
know
that the
what?
Giants versus it's in Seattle.
That's a good one. I'm glad you brought. I didn't look at the games this week. That's good. That'll be a fun one. I hope we can get to Fatty this week. I'd like to talk about that game.
Yes, we're gonna do it.
That's a good one.
I think this draft class too. I mean, you really look at Seattle's 2022 draft. It's one thing they did the right thing and finally like moving on from Russell Wilson. I mean,
Hmm.
that's the bold thing to do. The coward thing to
Hmm.
do is to just pretend like everything's okay with your quarterback as he ages and you just kind of, play out the string. So they get a bunch of picks, which is great. Like, good, you got picks. You got Geno Smith as your quarterback, Drew Lock competing with him in theory. you have to do something with those picks, right? Like the Cleveland Browns with Sashi Brown and when they went all in on analytics, they just couldn't draft anybody. Like they traded down into Corey Coleman that one year. I think he was out of the NFL in 2 seasons. So you need to draft well. And you look at their draft, they found 2 starting corners, 2 starting tackles, a star in Kenneth Walker. I mean, that 74-yard touchdown, it almost looks like he literally slams a gas pedal and just outruns the other 21 players on the field. And we just talked about how there's not as many big plays in the NFL this season with this too deep look, and you've got to run the ball. Well, they've got a big play threat. Not every team has a big play threat. Just somebody who's liable to go the distance any given play. So that gives an otherwise boring run first offense some pop. Like every week it seems like he's busting one. Be worried about DK Metcalf though, right? Like I don't think it's a poison pill, but obviously you don't want him out for an extended period of time. He's getting the MRI today. We don't know the status as we record this, but I think Seattle, New York could be. It's one of those games in the middle of the season where one of those two teams is going to get a little separation in everybody's minds and a little more legitimacy in everybody's minds. And okay, they can win with Daniel Jones. They can win with Geno Smith. Who the hell thought we'd be talking like this?
No, I was just thinking that we're talking about Dable and Pete Carroll, and it's pretty good. I like that though. I like that. Hey, I know what I wanted to tell you about yesterday. Your Cincinnati Bengals. They're that team right now. So when I'm watching these games, I'm thinking, okay, Bills and Chiefs in the AFC are obviously we know, top 2. And then who's going to try to knock? Who do the Bills and Chiefs, who do they not want to see, in the playoffs? And I'm sitting there like early. Nobody wants to see the Bengals, man. That's like that basketball team that is just coming in. If they get hot, there's nothing you can do. That's that Bengals offense. They were so on yesterday. It was Burrow and Jamar Chase put on the highest level of quarterback receiver talent level plays you could ever watch. What I saw yesterday, they were both. Sorry about that. They were both phenomenal. Like just the Chase. I don't even know what to say about Jamar Chase as far as how talented he really is. For his size, I don't know. It was just a special day watching those two. So I guess I was thinking about your Super Bowl prediction. Nobody's going to want to play them. I feel the same way about Miami. That offense, if Tua could actually get consistent, because that game last night against Pittsburgh, if we want to talk about it, I thought Tua was terrible. I thought he kept Pittsburgh in the game. I thought he was seriously not good enough at all. Like, he can't play like that.
On Cincinnati, real quick, just because we were talking about this defensive coverage and how teams are taking away the big play, I think what makes them so dangerous is Burrow and Chase. They've got such a great rapport, and they know where each other are going to be play to play. I mean, look at that. The one touchdown, Next Gen Stats had the numbers. I think it was the most difficult completion that Joe Burrow's had, and like a 0.7 yards of separation from the man to the receiver. Like, there was no way this ball should have been thrown. No way this ball should have been caught. And Burrow does. I mean, up the right sideline, the corner is just like, there's nothing else he can do. He's got Chase hugged up against the sideline, and the ball's high, away, catches it with his hands, glides into the end zone. He goes for 130 and 2 touchdowns. Tyler Boyd goes for 155 and a touchdown. T. Higgins is 7 yards away from 100 yards himself. They get some production out of the tight end. They run the ball enough. It was, I know Atlanta defensively. I don't care. Like,
I don't care either, because the plays were, it was talent, high level talent.
Yeah.
So yes, your Bengals are, they're coming back.
Miami, man, it starts good with Tua. It tends to start.
Yes.
He was hot. He was feeling it.
Yes.
I was a little quick on the trigger with a tweet saying, "Man, if Tua plays like this, they could beat anybody because it feels like he can go full NBA Jam. It's just everything comes easy,
You're
boom, boom, boom,
100%
boom,
right.
boom, right down the field, finding the sweet spots, knowing exactly where the pressure's coming and just getting the ball there in the open space, right down the field. And then all of a sudden, Pittsburgh adjusted and took away some of that stuff. Tua had a blip of hesitation. He had to think just a little bit more, and it just 4 dropped interceptions. And that was the game. Pittsburgh doesn't drop those interceptions, they win the game. Pickett wasn't
And
obviously that great himself, but like the defense for
no,
Pittsburgh played well enough to win.
which you couldn't have counted on. I just thought Tua lost out on so many big plays with his lack of accuracy. Everything was behind receivers. There was nothing getting guys catch and run. Um, Decision making, awful. All the stuff we've talked about with him that always concerned me, the decision making. So yeah, I don't know. They can't get away with him playing like that. We talked about Jacksonville being concerned. That would be the first time I would be if I'm Miami right now. Like, okay, that can't happen. Like we stole one.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's fighting so hard. Pickett looked really young to me last night. I know he's like kind of a mature, he's not a young, in terms of coming out, but he looked young. He looked young.
He did. Yeah, he had the wide eyes last night.
He
He looked
did.
flustered.
He wasn't seeing things. He made some nice throws, like that shows you and that he has something to him. The toughness is there. I like what you just said. The wide eyed was there. He wasn't seeing things, and that those throws at the end like that. That's just you sit there and watch Mike Tomlin. All the work the coaches are putting in, and that defense somehow held that team. That was Steelers'
Yeah.
game to win.
You know what's crazy though? You talk about collecting wins a lot on this podcast, and Miami. Not
Yes,
only did they just win a
just
game
get
that they
it.
probably
That's
didn't
why I
really have any
said it.
business
Yep,
winning.
they
Look at
still
their
won.
schedule coming up. Granted, you got to go to Detroit. Never an easy place to play with against my
Oh,
Lions. All right, but
I'm not even.
I know.
I took them. I
Detroit,
thought you.
Chicago, Cleveland, Houston, and then you've got San Francisco. But I mean, a
Yeah.
chance to really reel off 4 wins for Miami. um, you know what? No, nothing's guaranteed in this league, but
No, nothing's guaranteed. But
they're in a position to get kind of right back to
they're
where they
great.
were after they beat Buffalo. Not atop the AFC East, but feeling good about themselves as a legitimate playoff team. Like, and which is crazy to think when Tua is on his back and his arms are up in the air and his fingers are curled and he's unresponsive and he's taken off on a stretcher.
And
What did you make of Tua just running with the ball, lowering his head, initiating
if
contact?
I take it that if he's cleared, he's cleared.
Yeah.
Cleared means you play football the way you play football. And if that's
I
your
think,
decision to
yeah,
play that way, you know the risk. I don't know what else to
we've
say
talked
about it.
about it often on this show. Like if
It's unbelievable.
I'm all
Yeah.
about, I'm very pro America. You're right. Like pro making your own decisions in life with your mind, with your body. Like we know as much about injury risk and concussion risk as we possibly can. I mean, if Tua A wants to continue playing the sport and B play the sport the way he's playing it, then who are we to say? And plus, like running outside the pocket and going upfield, lowering your shoulder. I feel like there's less injury risk when you're kind of initiating and you're lowering your shoulder than just being a
Yes.
sitting duck in the pocket, right? Or I mean, there's so many
Yeah, the
other
way he
ways you can
ran
get
the
hurt than
ball.
just it was a
Yeah.
little overblown when people were like gasping and worried about that
Just
play.
commit to it. I think you just commit to it as a player at that point. Like, hey, if I'm going for a first down, I'm going for the first down. I'm not sliding.
Yeah, exactly.
Just let people know. Just let people know. Just make that your decision.
All right, do you want to just like rattle off some games here quick? I know we always omit
Oh,
a few, but
real quick on how about Green Bay, Washington?
yeah,
We talked about
geez.
Heineke. We talked about Heineke weeks ago, where he should have been playing for Washington from the start.
That was
That was
you.
that, You saw the way that team. I don't know how much you saw, but I like the way those players were like that. He's the leader of that team. They benched the leader of that team for a guy that isn't better than him. There was something more to that story in Washington, how that went down, because
Dan
that's not
Snyder
right. Yeah,
injecting himself into
something
the
more to that.
football
Something
decisions.
more to that story. There's no way that you could say Wentz. That it was cool to see that. So Rodgers, wow, 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 wow. Here's the best thing. You had asked me, I remember on our pod before the season, because we both like Green Bay, and you said why, or somebody asked, why would Aaron Rodgers, why is he coming back? Like, and I'm like, he must want to win a Super Bowl. He must feel like this team is good enough to win a Super Bowl. It's the only reason he's coming back. Without Devontae Adams, he must be
Yeah.
that driven. That's what I thought. I thought he must have been that driven. I, it's
Hey, I get
I don't even
it.
know what to
The
say.
receivers dropped a lot of balls. The line shaky. I get all that, but at some point, you're the $150 million quarterback. At some point, it would be nice if he just took a little bit more accountability and responsibility than he typically does after games. Going through the miscues of others, which he did again, and hinting at maybe doing some more outside of the pocket stuff. He kind of had a smile on his
Man,
face, and when he was asked, like, because the last drive he made some plays outside of the pocket, it looked like old Aaron Rodgers. But remember when things went south with Mike McCarthy? He basically just took that playbook, threw it out, did his own thing, was trying to improvise, which is great when you've got Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb in his prime, Devontae Adams or Donald Driver or Jermichael Finley or
yeah.
Greg Jett. Like, when you've got this talent everywhere, yeah, you can street ball it, go ahead. But when you've got young receivers and a strong running game and you need to lean into certain things, operating outside the confines of Matt LaFleur's offense isn't the way to go. So it will be interesting. Actions will speak louder than words. There'll be a lot of platitudes. There'll be a lot of nice things said between the quarterback, the coach. He'll go on McAfee and call us all idiots for questioning the team where they're at. Like we know the runaround by now. But that was an interesting comment, I thought. And Taylor Heinicke, it's not like Taylor Heinicke is surrounded by all pro players either. Like and he made plays in big moments that Aaron Rodgers couldn't make. And let alone the fact that, Jair Alexander, your $20+ million corner, is getting roasted by Terry McLaurin.
He's so
They've got,
good.
I get it. They've got some other issues on this team. It's just, there
No,
just does not
it
seem to be
doesn't
a lot of
seem right.
accountability out of the quarterback. And Green Bay's not going to say anything to him. I get it. Matt LaFleur's the coach. He, in theory, should. But they cut this deal a while back. I think they'll just kind of ride this out. And it's going to take a 2016-like run. Just Aaron Rodgers turned it on like he's never turned on before, for Green Bay to win 5, 6, 7 games in a row and reassert itself as a Super Bowl contender. Because I don't know. They should just run the ball, right? Aaron Jones, 8 carries. That's ridiculous.
That was the
I know it wasn't
talk.
that effective, but he's your best player.
Yeah,
He is your best talent. You saw it on the touchdown catch. And to just not even use him in the run game, basically, when you're throwing it 35 times, why even show up? Why even play if you're not going to give the ball to your best player? So, yeah, you can see some frustration. And now, hey, now you're going to Buffalo. Now you're a huge underdog like you've never been before on the road against the hottest team in the NFL.
it doesn't even seem like that. I didn't even look what the spread is. That
How
I
long
mean,
would you do the calm and the zen and the manifesting positivity and all that stuff? Like, at what point does that not fly? And at what point do you just need urgency and a little bit of panic?
yeah,
A little bit of panic could be good. It was more of the same. Like,
agreed.
if you're in the front
No,
office,
it's
let me get your perspective
oh,
on this. And like, you saw, you were with Drew Brees a number of years through some ups and downs. And whether it's him, whether it's anybody, like, in your face of the team is struggling. Um, I don't know, Breeze probably never struggled like this when you were with the Saints. But if you're from the
No,
front office and the
I know
face
what you
of your
mean,
team
though.
is struggling,
Yeah.
what like at the podium, because everybody kind of follows his lead. Everybody's gonna
Yeah, no
follow
doubt.
behind Aaron Rodgers. What do you
No
want out of
doubt.
him in this moment? Do you want that? Maybe I'm wrong. Do you want that calm, everything's fine, or do you want a little shit, for the lack of a better word? You know, like do you want a little something to him? Like, no, we got to turn this around. It starts with me. I'm the leader. I'm the quarterback. It starts with me. I need to play better. Yeah, man, or anything remotely close to that out of Aaron Rodgers.
You have to be yourself. You have to be who you are.
Yeah, you're right.
So
Maybe that's not him.
If it's just not him. And it used to be fun. It used to be kind of fun, the whole relaxed thing and all that, when he was out there producing. Now you're being yourself. Good. Okay. You're not the Tim Tebow, we're never going to lose again. I'm going to bang my head through a wall. You're not that guy, but now you're not making plays like you used to. And it's hard for me because we all, I do love watching him play, and to watch him play like this, I don't know why he came back. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it now. I honestly was so convinced he was coming back because he believed in this team. And he doesn't seem like he believes in this team.
Yeah, the camera caught him sniping at Romeo Dobbs. What the F are we
I'd
doing?
love to know.
So there's that stuff sprinkled
I'd love to know he and LaFleur. I'd love to know what their talks are. That would be interesting. I don't know their relationship, but it's being when all relationships are officially being tested, it's being tested.
Well, I don't know about you, Jim, but whatever's said at a podium, I believe 100% to be the case. It's clear when they project a message that is absolutely the case behind closed doors. So I don't want to hear it, Jim. I don't want to hear it.
Tyler, we had no idea Rex Ryan was being fired. We had no idea.
I get a kick out of people. I still hear it from time to time, snippets from my Bleacher Report story in 2018, where actually it was 2019. Got to get my years mixed up. Well, that's been debunked. No, that line, that don't beat the problem. It's been debunked. He's come out. What the hell do you think he's going to say? Do you think he's going to? Of course, yes. He's going to deny.
Of course. I think you are. You've been on to his personality quirk, however you want to describe it, and it's showing. This isn't a guy that should be the leader. You can't act this way. Those
and he put up with it when he's really good. Hey, I get that.
That's what I'm saying.
When he's balling out, he's an MVP. You put up with the BS, but he's average right now.
Now. So. Yeah. But that division still, it's not like they can't figure it out.
You're right. Maybe that's why he's calm when you're 3-4 staring down the barrel 3-5. But look, the Saints and the Panthers are 2-5, and they're one game out of first in the NFC South.
It's gonna have to take a drastic. He's gonna have to be the Aaron Rodgers MVP caliber player to get this team right, because it's not just him. They're not completely, like you pointed out, they're not completely right on defense either. I thought they would be a little better on defense. Didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I don't want to act like I was right and everybody else was wrong. I picked this team to be in the Super Bowl. I thought the defense was going to be dominant.
No.
They haven't been bad, but they've been
too. Yeah.
They've just kind of been
I agree.
solid to okay.
Agree. Right.
You've got to get that stop on 3rd and long against Taylor Heineke. Kenny Clark has the pressure up the middle.
Yep.
Tags Heineke, and Heineke stands there. He takes the hit. He delivers it.
It's such a great throw.
Jair Alexander. That has not been money well spent so far.
Surprising.
He wanted to take on the best of the best. Mano a mano, don't give me zone help. Don't have me on anybody. He wanted Terry McLaurin in this matchup, and McLaurin, he schooled him. He beat him on the touchdown, and he beat him on the 3rd down to win. To basically
hard
close
position.
The game.
It's such a hard position. because
All right.
it's to your point. There is that one-on-one aspect of it, like, and we all know anybody one-on-one, you're gonna lose some. Like it happens. Somebody's beating LeBron. There's somebody out there that is running around still to this day when LeBron was sixth grade or something. Some kid
Yeah.
may have beat him one time. Still talking about
I'd love to find that kid. You know,
it.
that's a great point. Oh my gosh.
But anyway, all right. So wait, Green Bay, Washington. Like, was there anything else? I liked yesterday. That was a good NFL day, I thought.
It was. Lastly, let's just touch on Tampa Bay. I mean, they lose 21 to
Oh,
3. Your Carolina
yes, please.
Panthers.
By the way, look at their standings in that division. I'm telling you, Carolina is not completely out of that thing.
I mean,
I still don't know. PJ Walker, man, I'm
hey,
telling you, I can't imagine what's going on in Tampa, Tyler.
well, you can see why they didn't want to just give Brian Burns away. He's a stud. They've got players on
He,
defense.
they,
They do.
we talked about this. We talked. It makes you feel good at least to say, okay, we weren't completely crazy to think the receiving core more. I mean, come on, that guy's a player.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But
this game's more
anyway,
about
let's
Tom
talk about
Brady,
Tampa.
right?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, this is unbelievable.
they're
To
3 and
think about
4.
just showing no signs of function. Like that dysfunction is, I don't know, man. It's hard. It's hard to think that they can't affect him. That's all I can say about it. That's a lot to go through.
He is going through a lot off the field, as we know.
That's what I'm saying. It's a lot. It's a lot. And
It's not even, we can't even write it off as like TMZ page, whatever it's called on
no,
page 6
no,
fodder. Like it's real.
it's real.
When you, it's got to be affecting his play. I mean, he's 45, playing the most violent sport. He's already accomplished everything. Every player talks about finding your why. Like why do you play? And so many guys say I play for my family. I play for my wife. I play for my kids. I play for Super Bowls. I play for glory. Maybe making the Hall of Fame one day.
Yeah.
I just was watching that game thinking, what's Tom Brady's why at this point? I mean, what is getting you up in the morning to play? I mean,
You
then you
know,
see him just cussing out his lineman last week, and then Mike Evans drops that long touchdown this
I was
week.
going to say that drop yesterday. I wonder if, yeah, you never know how that can
Why?
spark you. Right.
Ben Roethlisberger, I'm paraphrasing on a podcast. Didn't he say last week that it looks like Tom Brady just doesn't really want to be out there? A guy like that would know, a contemporary who's been there. Yeah. Like he probably had those same feelings at different points last season. Body language, like you can see it.
It's such a commitment. And it's so hard to win. It's like, and if you're not fully committed, you're questioning, what am I doing right now?
Jim, you have a flight to catch, so I shouldn't keep you any longer. Thanks for doing this before you fly back.
Come back to Fattey. I'm going to see you at Fattey this week.
Absolutely. Yes, we'll have the details on the site if you want to join us at Fatty's for the pod. Go ahead.
Patriots Bears tonight. Mac Jones, Justin Fields. Who we got?
The Zap Man is put on ice for a week. I think he's still got it.
Which hurts me. I wanted to see him. Patriots. Yeah, Patriots are winning tonight.
Patriots.
Let's do that. That's going to be a good redraft episode too. That quarterback class.
I like it.
Trey Lance. Yeah. So,
let's do it.
All right. Sorry.
Also, finally, the Blood and Guts. It's been on a week now. Thank you, everybody, for pre-ordering way back when to ordering now. If you haven't gotten your pre-order book, I was in touch with the retailer, and hopefully it's shipped out ASAP. So they're sorry about that. Cannot wait for everybody to read The Blood and Guts on Amazon, of course, hardcover, Kindle, Audible. And if you want a signed book plate, just let me know. Email, DM on Twitter. I'll mail you one to stick in here. Thank you so much. All right, Jim. Good to see you, brother. We'll catch you in the flesh here soon.
Talk soon.